Hey my moon babes, it's Anastasia Moon Girl. In today's video we're going to be talking about how to pick the perfect deck for you and how to connect with your deck. Today we're working with the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. This was my first tarot deck that I bought myself. I love this deck and we'll get into why I bought it for myself. First off, what is tarot? Tarot is a divination tool. I use this almost every day, but for me tarot is a way to get answers, maybe more insight on a situation or a question you might have, and the way that it's set out is 78 cards. Most decks do have 78 cards. I've got the Wild Unknown deck with me today. This was the first deck that I ever bought myself, and it was mainly because I really resonated with the images, but we'll get into that soon. So you can use tarot cards in a multitude of ways. Some people believe that they read them through their spirit guides, they're working with their deities. Others believe, like myself, that I'm working with my intuition because I'm a very intuition-based person. I am clairvoyant, so that's how I get most of my information. But you can also work with your subconscious. Others believe, outside of any religion or any practice of witchcraft or anything, people believe that you can use divination through your mind, so your subconscious is taking over. Sorry if you can see the light shading, I'm still learning and I'm gonna fix it eventually. First things first is how to pick a deck. Some people and cultures believe that your deck, all of your tarot decks need to be gifted to you. However, I think that this is kind of an old practice, and sometimes, especially if you are with family members or maybe you live with roommates and you just cannot be open about using divination tools, sometimes people in your life might not be willing to get you some, or they might not get you a deck that you really resonate with and you will really connect with. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you going out and buying your own deck, and this is how I'd go about doing it. So the reason why I bought this deck as my own first personal deck that I bought myself is because of the artistry. I really resonated with all of the images. It's a little bit of a darker deck, but for me and my art style, I really resonate with it, so that's what was really important for me. The reason that I picked the Wild Unknown deck is because the dark imagery really aligns with what I like aesthetically. This deck really spoke to me, and I would say if you can't go to a metaphysical store and look at decks yourself, you can look online, and most of the time, if it's a popular enough deck, people have walkthroughs where they will literally show you each and every card and what the guidebook looks like in here, and I would think that's a really good tool for you because you can look through the deck and see if the imagery is something you like. Maybe it's not a jarring image that you're scared of, or maybe not too light and pastel if you're not into that, as I am. I like the darker aesthetic, so that's what I went with. I think that's really important. Looks are important with your deck. You want to be attracted. Secondly, I would say make sure that the cards are real. Now, I understand that sometimes tarot cards can be a little bit expensive, and they do sell them on places like Wish and things, but for the most part it's not the same exact quality. They're kind of like rip-offs, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy them from there. However, I think that if you're getting them for a spiritual reason, it might be easier and better to get the authentic, original version of the deck. But with that being said, this deck specifically is sold on Amazon for like 18 or 20 bucks, right around $20 to $22. Totally real. The imagery is great. Obviously the artist gets the money, and I think that's really important. You don't want to rip off anyone's art because it does take a long time to put these together, and you just want the spiritual properties behind it. So what you can do, obviously, if you can go into a metaphysical store or somewhere that sells tarot cards, I would say look around the table or wherever they have them. Look at the pictures on the back. If they have them out and you're open, flip through them, see if you feel anything, and kind of hold your hands over the area where the decks are, and if anything, if you're feeling any energy, pick those up. Those probably want to come home with you. Now that we've got picking your deck out of the way, we can talk about getting gifted a deck. Now, yes, obviously if you want to be gifted a deck, I've been gifted decks, it's amazing to the deck. I have a vintage Rider-Waite deck and I love it. However, it doesn't really want to work with me right now, so I'm just trying to get it to like me, and then hopefully we can move forward. But if not, I will keep it in my collection and it will just stay with me, and I will just use it that way. If there's anyone in your life who is supportive of your spiritual, or even just using these as divination tools, you can let them know. Maybe if you see a deck that you've been really eyeing that you want to be gifted to you for whatever reason, then you can drop little subtle hints or send them, obviously send them the link. That might work. But other ways, you could just be straight up and be like, I'd really like this deck, or have like a running list of things that you like, so whenever your birthday rolls around, or maybe Christmas or whatever you celebrate, people might have an idea, so it's still a surprise, but they know which ones to get you. Because sometimes it might be hard for them. Someone might buy you a deck that you just don't connect with at all, and that's just it's a little bit more tragic because they've spent your money and time getting you a gift, and maybe it doesn't really work for you, which is kind of sad. But then you could also re-gift it to someone else, and that might work better for them. So if you ever get a deck gifted to you that doesn't quite work with you well, just remember that it might want to be passed forward, and pay it forward. Now that we've got picking your deck out of the way, it is time to talk about connecting with your deck. And this is one of my favorite things to do with new divination tools because it's so much fun. So the first way that I would say to connect with your deck would be to grab your deck, obviously, whether you're getting it from Amazon or your store or anywhere or it's a gift I would say first cleanse it, and I like to use Palo Santo. I can make a whole video on how to cleanse divination tools or any of those kind of things, or cleansing in general if you guys would like, so please leave it down below. But I would cleanse the deck either with Palo Santo. I've also used selenite and a Himalayan pink salt underneath my really troublesome deck, which I will talk about another time, but I would cleanse it. And then from there, before I even use it, I carry it around for a few days. I sit at my desk and I shuffle, I sit in my bed and I shuffle. You're gonna wanna get the energy into your deck. And I'm shuffling this way, and there's a multitude of ways that you can shuffle. I could also make a separate video on that. You just wanna get your energy into your cards. One just flew out, so that means something. I will look in a second. The Three of Cups just fell out. Typical. You're going to want to get your energy into the cards. You're going to want them to recognize your pattern. If the box is a bit cumbersome to fit in your purse and carry around with you, because once again you're going to want your energy to get into these cards and around you, get a silk pouch for them. They really enjoy being in silk. It's just something about the energy. Obviously we can talk about that later. I keep mine in the big deck that it comes in because I have a pretty big purse, but you want to make sure that your hands are always clean. I like to wash my hands before I work with my cards. It's just a cleansing thing. And from there, once you've put your energy into the cards, you're going to want to do an interview spread. The interview spread is really important because it's going to let you know how your working relationship with your cards is going to be moving forward. Now, if you get some crazy cards pulling, don't worry. I've gotten the Tower on how is our working relationship going to be moving forward, and yikes, right. But sometimes it can be challenging, and maybe it means that you're going to learn a lot from the deck. This deck is very shady to me. I deserve it. So, it teaches me a lot. Every time I get readings, they're accurate, and once again, sometimes I might not like them, but it's something that I need to learn. So remember, sometimes when you're pulling cards, they might not make sense to you, and they might not apply to your life at that time. Take notes, write them down, go back in a couple weeks, they might change. Or your viewpoint on them might change, and you might realize that they mean more to your life than you thought originally. With that being said, that was a quick introduction to tarot. We are going to make this a series, so if you have any questions, leave them down below, or anything specific. We will be talking about the difference between spreads, and the difference between tarot and oracle decks, and different divination tools. So if you, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know down below. And if not, thank you guys so much for pushing me to start this channel. I promise the lighting will get better, everything will get better, but in the meantime, I really appreciate all the kind feedback that I've gotten. I do have a shop if you guys are interested in buying any witchy apothecary things. I have amazing stuff. I really like it. Been having so much fun. So I'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, love you guys.